Namaskar, this is Express News. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Let's begin with the stories. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated the 4th edition of Lokmanthan 2024, an international conference and cultural festival in Indian city of Hyderabad on Friday. The three-day event at the President is a cultural intellectual gathering which brings together artists, intellectuals, academicians from across the world to brainstorm on societal issues. Addressing the inauguration, Indian President Murmu hailed the event and called it a commendable effort to strengthen the threads of unity in India's rich culture and heritage. After concluding a successful three-nation visit to Nigeria, Brazil and Guyana, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is en route to New Delhi. India's Ministry of External Affairs said that a very warm and productive state visit of the Prime Minister to Guyana has concluded and that Prime Minister has made history as the first Indian head of state to visit Guyana in over 50 years. Prime Minister Modi addressed a community program in Guyana where he said India and Guyana share a unique relationship which is based on shared heritage, culture and value. PM Modi also highlighted efforts being undertaken to make state-of-the-art infrastructure in the country. During his address at the special community program in Guyana, Prime Minister Modi said Indian diaspora in Guyana has made impact across sectors and contributed to Guyana's development. Meanwhile, Guyana's President Irfan Ali said India and Guyana are not just restricted to economy and trade, rather ties are deeply personal and emotional. An Indian Foreign Ministry official said CARICOM leaders unanimously applauded India's initiatives and they appreciated Prime Minister Modi's special efforts to strengthen relations with them. India's MEA said Prime Minister Modi has proposed a 7-pillar framework to enhance cooperation between India and CARICOM. In a post on X acknowledging Guyanese hospitality, India's Prime Minister shared photos of a 7-curry meal that was served by President Irfan Ali for him. Prime Minister marked the meal served on water lily leaf holds immense cultural significance in Guyana. 7th edition of Odisha Parva 2024 in celebration of Odisha's rich and multifaceted culture heritage began in India's capital, Delhi. The three-day Odisha festival, a cultural extravaganza, was inaugurated by India's President Draupadi Murmu on Friday evening. In India, benchmark equity indices BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty 50 ended the week's last trading session on a higher note. The BSE Sensex jumped as much as 1,961.32 points or 2.54% to settle at 79,117.11. NSE Nifty 50 also ended higher by 557.35 points or 2.39% at 23,907.25 after scaling an intraday high of 23,956.10 on Friday. The Indian rupee continued its downward trend in trading, falling to an all-time low of 84.49 per US dollar on Friday. In India, gold prices surged rupees 1,100 to hit two-week high of rupees 80,400 per 10 grams in the national capital. Silver also climbed rupees 300 to rupees 93,300 per kg on Friday. Oil prices saw modest gains as tensions between Russia and Ukraine escalated, with Russia firing a ballistic missile at Ukraine and warning of a broadening conflict. Brent crude futures rose by 14 cents or 0.2% to $74.37 per barrel. While US West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 17 cents or 0.2%, reaching $70.27 per barrel. Global stocks diverged and the dollar gained on Friday following a bounce on Wall Street. Bitcoin pushed on further with its march towards the $100,000 mark as the cryptocurrency benefits from US President-elect Donald Trump's pledge. The euro hit a two-year low against the dollar and the pound retreated after closely watched survey showed a contraction in business activity. ECB chief Christine Lagarde on Friday stepped up calls for greater financial integration in Europe, warning of threats to free trade and growing gap with the United States. Meanwhile, the new British government's plan to increase taxes on businesses contributed to first contraction in private sector activity in over a year. Preliminary S&P Global Flash Composite Purchasing Managers Index published on Friday fell to 49.9 in November from 51.8 in October. British home price increases will outpace overall inflation and rental costs will rise even faster, according to the latest Reuters poll of housing market experts. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited the Wat Siakat temple in Wenchen. Defence Minister said that he felt blessed after the visit to the temple. He said India's shared Buddhist heritage with Lao PDR is a significant link in our modern-day relations. Rajnath Singh also met Defence Minister of Japan, General Nakatani in Wenchen, Lao PDR and Defence Secretary of Philippines, Gilberto Teodoro. The Canadian government has clarified that there is no evidence linking Indians to criminal activity in Canada. The statement follows a Canadian newspaper report which contained these unfounded allegations. The same were dismissed by the Indian MEA as ludicrous statement and a smear campaign. The International Criminal Court on Thursday issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister, as well as Hamas military chief Mohammad Deif. In a video statement, Netanyahu vowed that the warrant would not deter him from defending Israel. World leaders are split over ICC's decision. The United States President Joe Biden has called the international court's arrest warrants for top Israeli leaders outrageous. Biden said US will always stand with Israel against threats to its security. The White House has rejected decision by the International Criminal Court, saying the US is discussing the next steps with its partners, including Israel. Rome would consider alongside its allies how to interpret the decision of the International Criminal Court in issuing arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and act collectively. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani said the International Court must play a legal role and not a political one, reacting to the arrest warrants against Netanyahu. While Turkey is positive about the decision, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan welcomed the warrant as an extremely important step. US envoy Amos Hochstein met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv to secure a ceasefire. Russia fired a hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile at the city of Dnipro on the Thursday in response to the US and UK allowing Kiev to strike Russian territory with advanced Western weapons in a further escalation of 33-month-old conflict. Russian President Putin, in a televised address, said Moscow struck a Ukrainian military facility with a new ballistic missile and warned that more could follow. Putin said that Ukraine conflict was escalating towards a global conflict and warned that the West, Moscow, could strike back. While Ukrainian President Zelensky on social media platform X said Russian strike on Ukraine with a new type of ballistic missile was a clear and severe escalation in the conflict and called for strong and worldwide condemnation. Further, the US said that it was pre-notified ahead of a Russian attack on Ukraine with the new type of ballistic missile on Thursday. The COP29 presidency on Friday released a new draft climate finance deal that would have developed nations take the lead in providing $250 billion per year by 2035. And time for a short break. We'll be right back.
This week on Defense Dynamics, we will tell you what are Atacam missiles launched by Ukraine on Russia and the likely impact. Also tell you why the India's long-range hypersonic missile puts it in the elite group of nations. We'll also tell you why India's Pinnacle multi-barrel rocket launcher is generating a great French interest. And also in this program, why the US strategists are unnerved by the Chenkai port in Peru developed by the Chinese. Watch all this in Defense Dynamics this Friday at 8:30 p.m. IST.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Let's resume with the stories. Climate funding divisions laid bare as COP29 deadline looms. Division and discontent spilled at the summit's Azerbaijan's Baku. New global finance deal sparks divide. The new document shows much remains undecided on key questions such as finance commitments. Developing countries need at least $1 trillion a year to cope with climate change. Bomb cyclone brings floods to vineyard communities in Northern California. Weather officials warn about high wind gusts, risk of flooding, mud and rock slides in the region. Weather officials predicted that rain will continue over Northern California in the next few days, not easing until Saturday. Satellite images show dramatic atmospheric river pummeling California. At least 2 women died in Seattle. About 260,000 homes, businesses remain without power. Canada helps Washington state restore power after a bomb cyclone. The workers traveled across the US-Canada border from British Columbia to help with the efforts. Puget Sound Energy spokesperson Melanie Kuhn called Cyclone Bomb as one of the most severe storms in a decade. Crew were seen working for a long hours to help turn lights back. Snow settled across Paris, turning pavements white and slushy and bringing delight to tourists and residents alike. Tourists enjoyed the sweeping views of cities' snowing rooftops. Greater Paris region was put under an orange weather alert for snow and ice. Public Transport Group, RATP, has warned of possible disruptions to its transport services. Tourists were also seen enjoying snowy landscape around the Sacré-Cœur Church in Paris. The railway tracks of Gare du Nord were also covered in heavy snowfall in central Paris. A volcanic eruption near Iceland's capital continued its dramatic display into the night on Thursday. Eruption represents 10th such event in the peninsula in 3 years. The volcanic eruption in Iceland forced evacuations in nearby villages and tourist areas. However, there were no disruptions to air traffic or infrastructure. After days of severe plus air quality in the AQI, India's Delhi has improved. Air quality index recorded in Delhi was 369 on Friday. In an effort to curb pollution levels, the New Delhi Municipal Corporation carried out night cleaning and sweeping of roads at several locations in the national capital. Migratory birds prompt the preservation plea in India's Tamil Nadu. Environmental science students urge state government to take action to preserve lakes. The plea to preserve lake highlights the ecological importance of the area and its role as a sanctuary for the avian species. The village of Lemsela in Algeria stands as a shining example of environmental preservation and community unity, ranks among the top in the province's village beauty and cleanliness competitions. Through weekly volunteer initiatives, the villagers in Lemsela work tirelessly to honor their ancestors' legacy. Their collective efforts have transformed the village into a picturesque haven. Restoration of collapsed stone wall of centuries-old castle in Kwamoto city begins. The restoration work is part of an ongoing project to rebuild Kwamoto Castle. Kumamoto Castle suffered a serious damage in a major earthquake in 2016. Officials in the restoration project say the work is expected to continue through September next year. After almost 40 years, an iconic piece of Alice Springs history is being brought back to life in Australia. The The restoration project in the shopping centre is part of a broader effort to revitalise the town. The decennial exposition of the sacred relics of St. Francis Xavier, the patron saint of Goa, begins on Thursday and will go on till January 5th next year. Pilgrims, especially from the Catholic community and tourists, will converge in Goa over the next 45 days to pay homage to the saint, whose mortal remains will be put on public display for veneration. At southwest China's Chongqing Zoo, the caretakers of pandas ensured their happiness and well-being in a nurturing environment. Special arrangements were made with modified habitat to suit the pandas' needs. An adorable giant panda cub was captured sitting domineeringly at a wooden throne like a baby boss while relishing a feast of bamboo at a breeding base in southwest China's Sichuan province. The baby panda was spotted enjoying the meal in an elaborately made wooden chair. Such environmental enrichment furniture is designed to satisfy the physiological, psychological needs of the captive animals. A rare golden tabby tiger named Eva has captured the hearts of the internet and visitors in Chiang Mai Night Safari. Netizens have affectionately dubbed her Eva, the cutie. Eva's distinctive golden coat is a result of a rare recessive gene, making her one of the only 100 such tigers in the world. Friendly Labrador Aldo calms Ecuadorian kids at dentist's office. Aldo helps young Ecuadorian children relax by allowing them to cuddle up and stroke him to distract them from noisy machines. The 8-year-old understands the storm 30 commands and enjoys climbing on top of the children, sitting in his own Glen Arias dental chair. A red typescript of Anthony de Saint-Exupéry, The Little Prince, containing the extensive handwritten corrections by the French author, goes up for sale for $1.25 million. A 29-meter red spruce from Alpine region of Ledro, northern Italy, was installed in St. Peter's Square ahead of Christmas festivities on Friday. The tree and nativity scene will remain on display until January 12th next year. The Christmas tree, harvested sustainably from the Tarantino forest, was chosen for its height, robust branches meeting Vatican ecological standards, according to a statement by Vatican City-State. Caravaggio's portrait of Maffeo Babbini goes on public display for the first time. Caravaggio was a master of chiaroscuro, a technique of lighting to make his subjects come alive. The world premiere of Disney's Moana 2 sailed onto Oahu, Hawaii on Thursday, along with the celebration of Pacific Islander heritage. The premiere opened with performances from Hawaii dancers wearing leis and waving Hawaiian flags. Moana 2, directed by David Derrick Jr., Jason Hand and Dana Miller, arrives in theatres on November 27th. Bollywood film Agni trailer is out now. The film premieres on 6th December on OTT platform Amazon Prime Video. Hindi film Jhankila trailer is out now. The trailer showcases themes of empowerment and national unity. After its release in Punjabi language Hindi film, Jhankila will now hit cinemas in Hindi on 29th November. Bollywood star Manoj Bajpayee's Dispatch teaser is out now, unveils the courage and fearless journalism and relentless grit needed to expose scams. Australia was left teetering on 67 for 7 in reply to India's 150 all-out as the grassy and bouncy Perth Stadium pitch claimed 17 wickets on the opening day of the Border Gavaskar series on Friday. For India, captain Jasprit Bumrah was the pick of the bowlers with 4 wickets, while Mohammad Siraj took 2 wickets and debutant Harshit Rana chipped in with 1. Cricket stadiums will fly flags at half-mast and players will wear black armbands as Australia marks the 10th year anniversary of former Test opener Philip Hughes' death. World number 1 Jannik Sinner barred Italy into the Davis Cup semi-finals after they came from behind to beat Argentina 2-1 and set up a clash with Australia. US President Joe Biden was invited to the Boston Celtics to the White House on Thursday to celebrate their 18th NBA championship. Premier League champions Manchester City has made the manager Pep Guardiola signed a 2-year contract extension. In Women's Champions League, Barcelona clinched a huge 4-1 win over St. Pölten to close the gap on Group D leaders Manchester City. Arsenal snatched a late 1-0 win over an unlucky Juventus to secure passage to the Women's Champions League knockout phases and end Juventus' chance of qualification. Red Bull Italy Sail GP team was unveiled as the 12th and final entry for the 2025 Sail GP season. And finally, the Indian deaf team is all set to participate in the 10th Asia Pacific Games in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia from 1st to 8th of December this year. 69 athletes will be competing across 7 sports disciplines. And with that, we conclude this edition of Express News. Namaskar.